Hello everyone, welcome to Study Online and welcome to Python Workshop. Today happens to be the day 3 of a Python Workshop conducted by Study Online, and my name is Sandesh. Let me just do one thing. Let me just share you the screen. Okay. If you're able to see the screen, please do respond by saying yes in the chat box. And if you're able to hear my voice, please do respond by saying yes. Okay, great. Now, is there anyone who is attending a first day? Sir, today is my first day, sir, in the workshop. Sir, last 2 days I have missed. Is there anyone such that? If that is the case, please do ping me in WhatsApp later so that I'll be sharing you the recorded video of day 1 and day 2 so that you can just go through the recorded content of day 1 and day 2. Is that clear? Okay, great. I'll just do one thing. I would like to open the folder that is Python Workshop. Within this folder, I'll just do one thing. I would like to create a new text document that happens to be topics I will tell. Without wasting the time, let me just quickly recap whatever I have thought. I'll just do one thing. I'll just open a file called as topic files. Okay, great. Next. Prior to that, I would like to open day 1. Okay. Now tell me, what is the first topic that I have thought? We'll see. Guys, hope that you people are writing the notes, at least maybe not in a book, maybe in a sheet of paper or somewhere else. Are you writing the notes? Guys, that is very important. No one I'm telling. Although I might be giving a text document or PDF document, I will insist you to write a proper notes. Now tell me on day one, what is the topic that we have discussed? First, what is the topic that we have discussed? Don't you think I have taught you the importance of Python? Importance of Python. I think in the diagram number 1, I have told the importance of Python. Now tell me, when it comes to Python, what is the rank of Python? What is the rank of Python? Very good. First rank. Afterwards, don't you think I have discussed the applications of Python? Yes or no? I have discussed applications of Python. Afterwards, I have discussed history of Python. I have discussed history of Python. Once again, I'm going to ask you the same question. Please tell me who invented Python or who is the father of Python? You just tell me in the short form. Who invented Python? I hope everybody are in a position to tell the proper answer. Very good. Don't you think GVR, that means Guido van Rossum, invented Python? When he invented Python? When he invented Python? I'm not asking the official year. I'm just asking when he invented Python. Okay, very good. 1989. Officially, when Python was released to the market? Officially, when Python was released to the market? Okay, very good. 1991. Afterwards, I have discussed printing some hello world, study online, using C, Java, Python. I have just shown you the simplicity of Python. Afterwards, I have taught you the history of programming languages. Now tell me, is there any doubt for, if somebody is asking you to tell the meaning of assembler, what is the meaning of assembler? Are you in a position to tell them the right answer? Yes or no? If somebody is asking the definition of assembler, will you be telling the proper answer? Okay. Similarly, if somebody is asking define compiler, are you in a position to tell them the right answer? Okay, great. Next, that is what I have discussed when it comes to day 1. Let me just close this day 1. Next, let me just start off with the day 2. Now tell me, what is the first topic in day 2? I would like to open the notes. That is day 2. What is the first topic that I have discussed? That means in the yesterday's session, don't you think I have discussed compilation and interpretation process? Compilation and interpretation. Very good. That means if somebody is asking what is compiler, what is interpreter, I hope you people are able to tell the proper answer. Guys, no one I'm telling, don't mug up the definition. That means don't by heart. Just try to understand the way whatever I have thought and try to tell the definition in your own words. Is that fine? Okay, next. In the interview, they're asking, is Python a compiled or interpreted programming language? What will be your answer? In the interview, they're asking, is Python a compiled or interpreted programming language? What will be your answer? Very good. See, I think many of them would have revised properly. Thank you so much for that. Okay, now tell me, when compared to C and Python, which one is fast? When compared to C and Python, which one is fast? C. Are you aware of the reason for that? Right now, whatever the answer that you're telling is very good, correct? Are you aware of the reason? Very good. Next. Now tell me, in how many ways we can execute a Python program? In how many ways we can execute a Python program? Very good. Don't you think there are three ways to execute a Python program? Afterwards, installation of Python is what I have taught. Correct, right? Now tell me, if I tell you to install Python in your laptop, is that a very difficult task or easiest task? If I tell you to install Python in your laptop, don't you think it's a very easiest task? You might have to go for the official website, that is python.org, download the version, whatever you want. That's it. Next, what is the next topic? Don't you think I have thought versions of Python? Versions of Python. Please tell me, 3.x version got introduced to the market in which year? You don't remember the month and all. At least remember the year. 3.x version was released to the market in which year? Very good. 2008. 2008. And now tell me, when it comes to mode of execution, of a Python code, in how many modes we can execute a Python code? Very good. In two modes we can execute a Python code. First one happens to be script mode. Second one happens to be interactive mode. Now tell me, is there any doubt for anyone when it comes to script mode or interactive mode? Yes or no? Is there any doubt? Okay, very good. Very good. I think so many topics is what I have discussed in yesterday's session, correct, right? Yesterday's session was a very lengthy session. At least if you would have attended yesterday's session, don't you think it's worth attending the session? Yes or no? It's a worth. Guys, and one more thing, I'm very happy for seeing all your feedbacks that you people are giving. Why? Because not even a single person has given the negative feedback. Maybe some of them told, sir, it's a very lengthy session and you might be going in a very slow manner. It's okay, fine. Why? Because I know many of them are aware of Python. Many of them are not even heard about what is Python. That's the reason I'll maintain a normal speed. Guys, tell me, am I going in a very fast or medium or slow? Which speed I'm going? Fast, medium, slow? Please do respond. Am I going in a very fast manner? For me, if you ask me, when it comes to the normal class, when it comes to workshop, I feel I'm going in a very bit faster. Sir, why, sir? Why? Because don't you think when it comes to workshop, I have to cover so many topics in minimal amount of time? Correct, right? Okay, great. And now tell me, when it comes to a platform dependent and platform independent, guys, one more thing, please do disable your videos. Nobody should enable your video. Disable the video. No need to turn on the front cam. I will tell you to turn on the front cam. At that point of time, you can just show your face. Now tell me, when it comes to C, is that a platform dependent or independent? When it comes to C programming language, is that a platform dependent or independent? Very good, very good. It's a platform, guys. Think and answer. Many of them are telling the wrong answer. C is platform dependent or independent? Platform dependent. Okay, very good. What about Python? What about Python? Is that a platform dependent or independent? Very good. Platform independent. That means in whichever the operating system, you can compile the code. If you generate the bytecode, you can use in any operating system. That's what the beauty of Python. And now tell me, is Python a Vora language? Sir, what is this, sir? Vora and all. Vora means what? Write once, run anywhere. That's it. Is that fine? And now, if somebody is asking you to define platform dependent, and if somebody is asking you to define platform independent, are you in a position to tell them the right answer with the right diagram? That is very important. Simply, if you by heart the definition, and simply if you tell the definition, it will not serve the purpose. Whatever I have taught, you people should tell them the answer along with the right diagram. That is very important. I hope I have given the diagram for these two things. If I'm not wrong, yes or no? Have I given the proper diagram for this? Yes, 100% I have given the diagram. Okay, I forgot to write the diagram number. Please do respond. In day 2, what is the diagram number for platform dependent? Is there anybody who remember that? For platform dependent, what was the diagram number? Oh, if you would have taken the screenshot, you just tell me. I think it's diagram number. Let me just check it out. I think diagram number 5. Diagram number 5 for platform dependent. For platform independent, it happens to be diagram number 6. Diagram number 6. Yes or no? Okay, great. That's what I'm going to copy it here. Now tell me, when it comes to day 1 and day 2, if you would have attended the Python workshop, what is your rating out of 5? If I just tell you to rate the content or the teaching or whatever it may be, out of 5, out of 1 to 5, what will be your rating that you can give for the content as well as teaching? Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Okay, great. Let me just do one thing. Let me just save this one. I would like to close this. Let me just open a brand new file that happens to be a day 3 is what I will tell. Day 3. When it comes to day 3, let me just proceed with the next upcoming topics. Now, if you would have attended day 1 and day 2, easily you will understand the topic, whatever I will teach in today's session. If not, also you'll understand. But it might be a bit difficult for you people to understand. That's what I will tell. Is that clear? Yes, please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? Okay. When it comes to the topic, actually the topic is pretty simple. I'll be asking few questions. Just tell me the answer. When it comes to English language, there are few keywords that we people will be using. Yes or no? Sir, what are those keywords, sir? You only tell me. When it comes to English, the only thing we'll be using what, why, how, where, from, is, that, something like that. Yes or no? When it comes to English language, the normal English language we people will speak. Don't you think we'll be using what, why, how, where, like this? Yes or no? Correct, right? Similarly, in case of Python also, we will be using some reserved words, or some of them might be calling it as keywords in Python. Okay, sir, what do you mean by keyword, sir? Keyword means very simple, guys. Those things will be used for performing some different operation. You cannot use those things while using your programs. That means while declaring a variable, while declaring a function, while declaring a class. Sir, what, sir? Some new technical terms you're telling. Function, it seems. Class, it seems. Don't worry, I'm going to give you the clarity. But as of now, what is what, why, how, where in English? It's a keyword. Similarly, in case of Python also, there are some reserved words or keywords. Okay, sir, which are those reserved words or keywords, sir? There are totally 33 reserved words or keywords in Python. Please do respond. How many reserved words or keywords are there in Python? How many reserved words or keywords are there in Python? Just now I have told. Very good. Don't you think there are 33 reserved words or keywords in Python? Sir, which are those, sir? You only observe. First one happens to be true, false, none, and, or, not, is, if, elif, else, while, for, break, continue, return, in, yield, try, except, finally, rise, assert, import, from, as, class, def, pass, global, non-local, lambda, del, with, like this. And still many of the reserved keywords will be added when it comes to the upgraded version of Python. But right now, there are 33 reserved keywords or words in Python. Okay, sir, what do you mean by reserved words, sir? Shall I define reserved words or keywords like this? Sir, how are you going to define, sir? In case of Python, some of the words are reserved to perform some operations or task or functionality. Those words are referred as what? Reserved keywords in Python. Is that clear, guys? Please do respond. Shall I define like that? When it comes to Python, see here, in Python, some of the words are reserved to perform some task. Sir, what task we can perform using and, sir? What task we can perform using if, sir? What task we can perform using import, sir? All those things you will learn. You don't worry about that. But please try to remember, these are the 33 reserved words in Python. Is that clear? Please do respond. Is that clear? And I don't know whether people are observing or not. When it comes to reserved words, all the reserved words or keywords in Python consists of only alphabets. Apart from alphabets, it is not having any such thing. See here, is there any number in between? See here, is there any number? Don't you think it is having uppercase and lowercase alphabet? Correct, right? And one more thing you people should observe, only 3 keywords will start with uppercase. All these keywords will start with lowercase. Only 3 keywords will start with uppercase. If you are able to see those keywords, please type those 3 keywords who will start with uppercase. Please tell me. There are 3 keywords which will start with uppercase. Which are those 3 keywords? Very good. True, false, none. These are the 3 keywords which will start with uppercase. That is what I have written here. See here. That's what I have written here. Okay, great. Now let us just proceed with the next topic. Sir, what is the next topic, sir? Now I'll be asking few questions. What's your name? Could you please tell me in the chat box? I want everybody to tell your name in the chat box. What's your name? No, I'm just asking what's your name. That's it. See, if I just ask your name, don't you think if people are able to tell your name, whatever your parents would have named when you're born? I think in 6 months or first year, they would have celebrated the birthday and all. They kept your name, right? By doing something called as Namkarana and all. Correct, right? Similarly, whenever you want to name something in Python, you have to follow our rules. There are some rules and regulations. So technically, what are those rules and regulations, sir? Technically, it is only called as what? Identifiers in Python. That means like how we people will be having the name. Don't you think I'm having the name called as Sandesh? And one more thing, When it comes to our country, what is our country name? I hope everybody should tell the proper answer. What is our country name? What do you think? What's our country name? Guys, what's our country name? Very good. India. Similarly, what's our state name? What's our state name? Karnataka. If I just ask you to tell your native place, don't you think you'll be having some name? Similarly, in case of Python also, whenever you want to name something, you have to follow something called as identifiers. Is that fine? What is identifiers in Python? If somebody is asking, your answer should be pretty simple. A name in Python is referred as what? Identifiers. Is that fine? A name in Python is called as identifiers. Now you tell me, whenever it comes to the general topic, fine, or assume that somebody wants to name me, or somebody wants to name a country, or somebody wants to name a bike, or somebody wants to name a company. Don't you think certain rules and regulations is there? Yes or no? Is there anybody name start like this? Is there anybody who is having the name like this? Percentage F, GY, and %7. Is there anybody whose name start like this? No, right? Yes or no? Guys, please tell me yes or no. 100% no. Correct, right? Like that, when it comes to Python also, whenever you want to name, there are certain rules and regulation. Okay, sir, which are those rules and regulations, sir? 100% I'm going to teach you the rules and regulation. But right now, I will teach you, before starting off with the topic called as rules to define the identifiers in Python, I will teach on chota topic. Sir, what is a chota topic, sir? Installing. Guys, I don't know whether I have taught you the IDLE or not. Have I taught IDLE? No, right? I think I have not explained you or opened IDLE and I have taught. Correct, right? That is the first online editor you have seen. Second one, IDLE. Okay, I'll just do one thing. This topic, I'll be explaining using the IDLE. Later, what I will do, I will teach you the IDEs, that is Sublime Text, PyCharm, all those things I will teach. Okay. Now what I'll do, let me just start off with the topic called as rules to define the identifiers. Okay, sir, what is the first rule, sir? First rule happens to be whenever you want to name a variable, or whenever you want to name a function, or whenever you want to name a method, whenever you want to name argument, parameter, class, module, package, all these things are a technical term. 100% you'll be getting the clarity. You don't worry about that. But make sure that you'll be following some rules and regulation. Okay, sir, which are those rules and regulations, sir? Guys, when it comes to naming a function or a method or argument, parameter, or a variable in Python, compulsorily you should follow these rules. If not, you'll be getting the output as error. Is that fine? Okay, sir, which are those rules, sir? First rule happens to be you should always use the characters that are A to Z. That means it might be in the lowercase or uppercase. That means you have to consider the alphabetical characters from A to Z. It might be capital A to Z or small a to Z. Similarly, always you have to consider the digits from 0 to 9. Is that fine? As well as you can use the underscore. You can use the underscore. See here, only the following characters are allowed in Python: A to Z, capital A to Z, 0 to 9, as well as underscore. Guys, it is not hyphen. It is not hyphen. It is underscore. Is that fine? Now what I'll do, I'll just take the example. Let me just consider example number 1.py. I hope you people are aware why I'm taking .py. Why I have taken .py? Please tell me. Just to explain this topic, I have taken the extension happens to be .py. Why? What is the reason behind that? Anybody? What is the reason behind that? Very good. Don't you think? It's a Python file. It's a Python file. Now what I'll do, you only observe. I'll just do one thing. I would like to minimize this. Let me just go back to the screen. I would like to minimize this. Let me just open the Python Workshop folder. Within this folder, I'll just get inside the programs. Now, in my laptop, or assume that if I'm using the computer, don't you think Python is installed in my laptop? Yes or no? How to check whether Python is installed or not? How to make sure that Python is installed or not? Sir, it is pretty simple, sir. Go back to command prompt, type CMD. Afterwards, you just type Python, sir, or py, sir. If you are getting the version of Python, then Python is successfully there in your laptop. Now, I would like to close this. Now, what I'll do, in this search bar, are you people able to see the search bar? Please do respond by saying yes or no. Are you able to see the search bar? Okay, great. I will search IDLE. See here, what I have done, I have searched IDLE. You just click on this particular inbuilt editor. Guys, are you able to see or not? Okay, great. Please click on the inbuilt editor that happens to be IDLE. Afterwards, one window will get opened. It is getting loaded. Why? Because it's a very slow software. That's the reason I'll be using IDEs. Now, if you're able to see this window, please do respond by saying yes. Yes, sir, we're able to see Python 3.8.5 window. If you're able to see that, please do respond by saying yes. Okay. Just click on file. Just click on file. Create a new file. I hope everybody are able to understand how to create a new file. Click on file, create a new file. And now what I'll do, I'll save this file. I'll save this file. Control S. I hope everybody are aware of how to save the file. Inside desktop, Python Workshop. See here, Python Workshop, November 29. I'll just do one thing, Python Workshop, November 29. Programs. Inside this, what I'll do, I will save this file called as example number 1.py happens to be the extension. I will save this file. Successfully, I have saved. Now what I'll do, you only observe the topic, whatever I was teaching. What was the topic name? At least tell me the topic name. Try to recollect and tell me the topic name. What is the topic name that I was teaching? Please do respond, guys. It's not identify, identifiers. Under identifiers, rules to define the identifiers. Is that fine? Rules to define the identifiers. Okay, great. Now I want everybody to observe this. I'll just do one thing. Let me just take one number. You just tell me one number. Anybody? You just tell me some number. Please be very quick in telling the number. Just tell me some number. Okay, great. I'll just do one thing. I would like to create a number. Sir, how, sir? I'll just consider the number happens to be, let me just consider 5,000. I will take 5,000. This 5,000, I will store within a variable. Sir, what is the variable name, sir? I will tell pyt. Please tell me what was the variable name? Guys, this is the data called as 5,000. It's an integral data or integer data. I am assigning this integer data within a variable called as pyt. Is that fine? Now observe properly. I want to see what is there in pyt. That means pyt is a reference variable pointing to the object called as 5,000. I want to see what is there in pyt. If you want to see what is there in pyt, always in Python, whenever you want to display what is the data that is there within a variable, you might have to use a function called as print function. Within this print function, I will tell pyt. Now, if I save, if I execute, sir, how to execute, sir? Click on run. Run module. Please tell me what is the shortcut to execute a module? What is the shortcut to execute a Python file? I hope everybody are able to see the shortcut. In your laptop also, same shortcut. F5. See here, I'll just click on this. Now tell me, whatever the data that I have stored, am I able to see the data? Yes or no? Am I able to see the data? Very good. Now tell me, is it a proper naming for a variable which is followed under the rules of identifier? 100% yes. Why? Because don't you think I have used only the small letter which falls under A to Z. That's the reason it is a proper variable, a proper data. Now tell me, I will copy this. I'll paste it. This time what I'll do, I'll consider capital pyt, and while printing also I'll be using capital pyt. This time I'll just tell instead of 5,000, I will tell, let me just consider 10,000. I will tell 10,000. If I save, if I execute, see here, I got the output. That means this is also a proper naming convention in Python. Now what I'll do, I'll copy this, I'll paste it here. You people should tell me whether it's a proper naming convention or not. I'll just tell P in capital letter, Y in small letter, T in small letter. Now tell me, is there a proper naming in Python? This time instead of 10,000, I'll just tell what I can tell. Let me just consider 1,000 rupees I will take. Yeah, please tell me. Is that a proper naming convention in Python? Many of them will feel no. 100% it is yes. Sir, why, sir? Guys, you can take the mixture of uppercase and lowercase. You can take, but ultimately what they have told, you might have to consider the data between A to Z, capital A to Z, or 0 to 9 and underscore. That's what they have told. Correct, right? Now, if I save, if I execute, now tell me, I'm able to see the output as 1,000. That means, don't you think it's a proper naming convention in Python? pyt. It's a proper naming convention in Python. Okay, great. Now observe properly. I will tell P, capital Y, T. 100% this is also a proper naming convention. Now what I'll do, I will tell 6460, one number I have taken, 6460. Within this, what I'll do, I will store a string data. Whenever you want to store a string data in Python, either you can use single quotes or you can use double quotes. I will tell Sandesh, Sandesh is a string object which is been stored within a variable called as pyt 6460. Now, if I copy this, if I paste it, now tell me, will I be getting the output as Sandesh or not? Yes or no? Think and answer. 100% yes. Why? Because don't you think the allowed characters are what? Either it can be in the smaller case or upper case, and digits also I can use from 0 to 9. Yeah, that's the reason if I say, if I execute, you only observe 100% I got the output as what? Sandesh. That is also valid. Once again, I'm going to ask you one more question. Sir, what is that, sir? We'll see how many of them will tell the proper answer for this. Let me just copy this. Let me just paste it here. Forget about printing the output on the console. Simply if I tell like this here, I will consider like this. Sir, what you will take, sir? Okay, let me just consider underscore. Okay, this time I'll just do one thing. Underscore I will take. Let me just copy this. Let me just paste it here. After underscore, I will tell what I can take. Let me just consider 25. I will tell. And now tell me, is that a proper naming convention in Python? PYT underscore 25. Is that a proper naming convention? 100%. It's a proper naming convention. That's the reason I'll be getting the output as what? 5000 here. Sir, this is also true, sir. Now observe properly. I will copy this. Forget about printing the output. Don't you think line by line execution will happen? That's the reason control will not go to this highlighted line, because I will commit a mistake here. Sir, what mistake will commit, sir? I will use dollar symbol. Now tell me, whenever you are naming something in Python, is dollar symbol allowed in Python? Do you think dollar symbol is allowed? No, correct, right? Now tell me, what is the output? Error. Will you agree with my point? I should be getting the output as error. Sir, please execute, sir. If I save, if I execute, see here, invalid syntax. Now tell me, how many of them are able to understand? I got the output as what? Invalid syntax. I got the output as invalid syntax. Correct, right? That's the reason what I'll do. If I say, if I execute again, I'll be getting the output as error in this line. I'm going to comment this line. Comment means don't execute that line. Okay, sir, how to comment a single line in Python? If you ask me, you might have to use a symbol called as. What is the symbol called as? Please tell me. What is the symbol? Whatever the highlighted symbol, whatever the symbol that I highlighted, what is the symbol called as? Hash or door number, anything you can take. Correct, right? Hash symbol. If I save, if I execute, that line will not be getting executed. I'll be getting the output for every other data, whatever I have told you here. If I save, if I execute, I got the output for every other data. That means this line is not been executed by PVM. That means it's an invalid syntax. Now think and answer whether I'll be getting the output for next line or not. I'll just do one thing. I will tell like this, sir. What you will tell, sir? I will tell. Let me just consider a pyt underscore 2 underscore I have used equal to. I'll just tell 6000. I will tell 6000. I will tell within this. If I try to print, pyt double underscore, close the bracket. Now tell me, will I be getting the output or not? I have used double underscore, multiple underscore I have used. Will I be getting the output? 200% I'll be getting the output. Why? Because underscore is permitted. Underscore is permitted in Python. How many times you want, you can just use. There is no restrictions in that. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? Shall I proceed further? Okay, let me just do one thing. Let me just copy this. I would like to copy this. Let me just come back to the notes. In these notes, I'm going to paste whatever I have written there. See here, same thing I have pasted. I'll be writing the output as well. Whenever it comes to writing the output, let me just do one thing. Let me just go back. Okay, save this, execute this. Let me just copy down the output as well. Okay, I have copied the output. Minimize this window. Go back to the notes. Paste it here. While writing the output, please write the output after each and every print function. Is that fine? So how to write the output, sir? Like this, you people should write the output. See here, after print function only, you just put some arrow mark and write the output. Let me just cut it. Let me just paste it here. Guys, and one more thing, many of them are asking many doubts. 100% I'm going to clarify all your doubts. I would love to clarify, but this is not the right time for that. 100% by the end of the session, that means by the end of this particular topic, I'll be giving the chance. Later will be asked. Later you can just ask the doubt. Is that fine? Please do respond. Please have the doubt at the back of your mind, or you just type somewhere else and keep the doubt in your mind. Later you can ask. Is that clear, guys? Why? Because I don't want to distract the flow. That's the reason. Okay. Shall I proceed further? Now tell me, how many of them were able to understand? Yes, sir. We understood the first rules to define an identifier in Python, or to define something in Python. We understood, sir. First rule. How many of them? Okay, very good. Now I would like to consider the second rules. Sir, what is the second rule, sir? Second rule states that you cannot start the identifier with digit, although 0 to 9 is allowed, to have the identifier in Python. You cannot start the identifier with digit. See here, anywhere else, anywhere in this example, have I started the identifier? See here, this is what the identifier. Have I started the identifier name by starting with digit? I know I have used digit here, but after defining the alphabet, I have used digit. Yes or no? After defining the alphabet, I have used digit. Sir, initially, if I start off with digit, what will happen, sir? You observe in example number 2. I'll just consider example number 2.py. Let me just go back to the ideally. Inside this ideally, I would like to create a new file. Sir, what shortcut, sir, you have used? You tell me the shortcut, whatever I have used to create a new file. I will not speak. You should tell me the shortcut. There only shortcut is there. Control plus N. Is that fine? Control N. If you press, automatically it will create a new file. Next, I'm going to save this file. Control S, or you just click on file. See here, save. What I'll do, I'll just save this file. What I'll do, I'll just tell example number 2.py. Now what I'll do, you only observe. We'll see how many of them will understand what I have told. Could you please tell me the second rules of an identifier? Could you please tell me the second rules of an identifier? Just now I have told. At least repeat that. We cannot consider the digits at the starting of the identifier. That means if I consider the data like this, okay, sir, how are you going to consider, sir? Assume that I will consider the data happens to be PYT only. I will take. I will store 5,000 within that 5,000. Now I will start this digit. I will start this identifier with 3 or 4 PYT. Now, if I save, if I execute, you only observe the output. Don't you think I'll be getting the output as what? Invalid syntax. How many of them are able to understand? Please do respond. How many of them are able to understand why I'm getting the output as error? I'll just tell invalid syntax is the output that I got. Now I will comment it. How to comment it? Why? Because it will execute. I don't want the code to execute. What I have to tell? Hash symbol is what I have to tell. Hash symbol. Now observe properly. If I take the data like this, we'll see how many of them will tell the proper answer. I will just consider what I have to take. Let me just consider F I will take. 3 I will tell. Underscore I will tell. Yes, I will tell. Underscore I will tell. Again, I'm going to consider 3 I will tell. Again, I will tell capital S. So many data I have taken, and I'm going to store 10,000 within that, or else 10,000. Now, if I print this particular variable, whatever I have declared, please think and answer. Will I be getting the output? Yes or no? If I save, if I execute, see here, I got the output as 10,000. See here, example number 2 got executed. 10,000 is what the output that I got. Sir, why, sir? Why? Because 3 I have considered at the second position, not in the first position. Is that clear for everyone? Yes, please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? Shall I proceed further? If you tell me to proceed further, I'll just proceed. What is the output that I got? Output happens to be 10,000 is what the output that I got. Okay, great. Next, let me just teach you the next rules of an identifier. Okay, sir, what is the next rules of an identifier, sir? It's pretty simple. You only observe. I'll just consider the next rule happens to be like this. Identifiers are case sensitive. Sir, what is the meaning of this, sir? You're not able to understand. Identifiers are what? Case sensitive. That means you observe in example number 3. I'll just consider example number 3.py. Within this example number 3.py, let me just teach you the why identifiers are case sensitive, or what is the meaning of that sentence, whatever I have told. Identifiers are case sensitive. First of all, tell me, in case of identifier, is it possible to consider uppercase and lowercase? Yes or no? Is that possible to consider uppercase and lowercase? You have to tell me the answer. Yes, 100% we can consider uppercase or lowercase, correct, right? Now what I'll just consider example number 3.py. Within this example number 3.py, I will tell Python happens to be the variable name. Within this Python, what I'll do, I will store the data called as study online. Next, if I print Python, see here, I have just printed Python on the console. If I save, if I execute, will I be getting the output as study online? Will you agree with my point? Will I be getting the output as study online? Yes, see here, I got the output as study online. Now you people should think and answer. If I print Python, will I be getting the output as study online? Yes or no? You should concentrate and tell me the answer. Will I be getting the output as study online? 200% no. Sir, why, sir? Why? Because you observe while declaring the variable, I have taken small letter p, but while checking the data, I'm using capital letter P. That's the reason. If I save, if I execute, it will tell boss, I don't know what is Python. Why? Because you have stored Python, but I don't know what is this Python. That is how it will tell. See here, if I execute, how many of them are able to understand? First, I got the output as study on name for a small letter Python. Later, I got the output as what? Name error. That means name Python is not defined. Now tell me, how many of them are able to understand the output, whatever I got? How many of them are able to understand? Is that clear? Shall I proceed further? Shall I proceed further? I will copy this. I'll just come back to the notes. Let me just paste it. And the output for this one happens to be, let me just paste the output here. Okay, great. Now, the fourth rule, I'm going to go back to the fourth rule. Okay, sir, what is the fourth rule, sir? Fourth rule is very simple. Already you people are aware of that rule. That means there is no limit for length of an identifier. That means you can consider n number of length. Sir, what is the meaning of this, sir? I will take in the example number 4. See here, there is no limit for length of the identifier. That means I'm going to go back to the example number 3. Let me just take the length. Sir, what length you will take, sir? I'll just do one thing. I would like to create the example number 4. What is the shortcut to create a file? You should guide me. What is the shortcut to create a file? Very good. Control N, Control N. I will tell Control N, and I'm going to save the file as example number 4.py. Now what I'll do, I want to store 10. I want to store 10. But what I'll do, I will take a lengthy variable. Sir, what variable you take, sir? See here, I will take a lengthy variable. Now, if I try to execute, will I be getting the output, sir? 100% will be getting the output. If you just try to print, I don't know how many times I have given yes. If you are having time in your life, you just count that. If I save, if I execute, by seeing the output, how many of them are able to come to a conclusion that we can consider n number of data in an identifier? Yes or no? There is no limit for considering the identifier. Yes or no? Please do respond. And now, will you be able to understand the example number 4, whatever I have given? Are you able to understand the example number 4? Now, the last example is very, very important. Now, I'm telling many of them will commit a mistake and they'll ask me, sir, why I'm not getting the error? Why I'm not getting the error? What is the last rule? If you ask me, identifiers should not be a keyword in Python. Identifiers should not be a keyword in Python. Is that clear? Now, once again, I'm going to scroll up. You just observe the keyword. You just observe the keywords in Python. True, false, none, if, elif, all those things. I will do one thing. While naming the identifier in the example number 5, let me just consider example number 5.py. In this example number 5, you only observe what I'll take. Let me just consider the example number 5. Let me just go back to a Sublime text. Let me just go back to the Sublime text. Sorry, let me just go back to the ideally. See, because of using Sublime text extensively, my mind will go for Sublime text. I'll just do one thing. I'll just come back here. Let me just consider example number 5.py. Okay. Let me just close all these files I don't want it. Example number 1, close this. Example number 2, close this. Example number 3 also I would like to close. Okay, save this. Example number 4, close this. Okay, example number 5. Now what I'll do, you only observe. I will take the data called as if. Within this if, I would like to store 10,000. Now tell me, is that possible to store 10,000 within a variable, within a data called as if? Sir, if is valid, sir. Why? Because it's alphabet. But now tell me, is that a keyword in Python? Yes or no? If is a keyword in Python, yes or no? I hope you people would have seen. If is a keyword in Python, that means we cannot consider a keyword in the form of identifier. That means we cannot name using the keyword. If I save, if I execute, I'll be getting the output as what? Invalid syntax. Is that clear, guys? Please do respond. Is that clear? Invalid syntax is what the output that I'll be getting. Why? Because it's a keyword or reserved word in Python. That's the reason. And now, sir, I will consider like this, sir. I'll consider like this. Now tell me, is that a valid or not? We'll see how many of them will tell. Is that a valid or not? Is that a valid or not? Why it is valid? If your answer is yes, why it is valid? Why? Because Python is case sensitive. That is Python here. Identifier is case sensitive. Is there any keyword called as capital I, small letter f? Is there any keyword called as capital I and small letter f? Please do respond. No. That means I can consider this there is a keyword which will start with small letter I, small letter F, but I can consider this one to name an identifier. If I say, if I execute here, I'm getting the output as 10,000. Now tell me, how many of them are able to understand? Yes, sir, we are able to understand. We'll see whether you people will tell the right answer for this or not. I'll just consider the data happens to be Sandesh. I will tell Sandesh. I'm storing Sandesh within a variable called as true. Is that possible in Python? Yes or no? 100% no. Why? Because don't you think there is a keyword called as true? If I say, if I execute, what is the output? I hope already some of them are guessing the output. Cannot assign true. That means I'll just tell invalid syntax. Let me just copy this. I'm going to paste the output. I'm going to comment it. Why? Because I don't want to execute the code. Now, think and answer. Shall I consider like this true? And I'm just store the same data. I'll just consider Sandesh here. And if I print true on the console, will I be getting the output this time? Will I be getting the output if I say, if I execute? Think and answer. Think and answer. Will I be getting the output? 100% I'll be getting the output. Why, sir? Why? Because there is no keyword which will start with small letter T and RUE. If I say, if I execute, don't you think I got the output as Sandesh? That means it is valid in Python. It is valid in Python. Is that clear, guys? Please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? I'm going to copy this. I would like to come back to the notes. In these notes, I'm going to paste it. And I would like to paste the output as well. I think directly I'll write the output here itself. Will that be fine? Here itself, directly I'll write the output, whatever the output that I got. I'll just tell the output happens to be Sandesh. Okay, great. Now, I know many of them were asking the doubts like this. I don't know whether you people got the doubt or not. How many of them got this doubt? Sir, you told we cannot start the identifier with digits. We will agree, sir. Is it possible to store the identifier starting with underscore? How many of them got this doubt? How many of them got this doubt? Please do respond. How many of them got this doubt? If you properly listen and if you properly observe, then 100% you people might be getting this doubt. Now tell me, within the Sandesh, I will store the data happens to be Python. Is that a valid or not? We'll see how many of them will tell. Is that a valid data or not? Yes or no? Many of them will tell, sir, it is invalid. While telling the rules of identifier, have I told the identifier should not start with underscore? Have I told yes or no? Have I told the identifier should not start with underscore? No. Haven't told like that. Correct, right? That means the identifier can start with underscore. Is that fine? Please do respond. Is that clear? Now, if you start the identifier by naming underscore, a single underscore, 100% you'll get the output. But technically in Python, if you start the identifier with single underscore, it is called as what? Protected data or protected variable, I will call. Is that fine? Guys, if you start any identifier with single underscore, it is called as what? Please do respond. Guys, in future, I will tell what is protected variable and all. I'll just tell protected variable or protected data. Is that clear? Please do respond. I want a response from your side. Is that clear? Similarly, is that possible to take double underscore? See here, I have just taken a single underscore, right? I will consider double underscore. I will tell PYT 6460. I will tell. Now tell me, is that a valid or not? Is it a valid data or not? Whatever I have taken, I will tell study online. I will tell study online. I will tell. Is it a valid data? Whatever I have taken, 100% it's a valid data. If you save, if you execute, you will be getting the output. If you start any identifier with double underscore, technically it is called as private variable. Technically it is called as what? Private variable or data. If I say, if I execute, I'm getting the outputs here. Python study online. I don't think it is valid in Python. Guys, these things will be asked in the technical MCQs. If you are attending any interview, these things might be asked in the technical interview. Don't you think if you are completely aware of the basics things or the foundation, whatever I have taught, easily you can tell the answer, whether it is valid or invalid, yes or no? Now tell me, is that a valid or not? Double underscore, I will tell, I'll just take any of your name. Somebody tell me your name. Somebody just tell me your name. Okay. I'll just consider the name happens to be Pradeep. I will take, okay. Please don't feel bad if I'm not taking your name. I'll just tell double underscore Pradeep double underscore. Within this Pradeep, what I'll do, I'll just tell a Python I will take, or else let me just consider some other data. What I have to take, I'll just consider, okay, instead of a string, I'll just consider 20,000 I'll take, 20,000 I'll take. Now, if I print double underscore Pradeep double underscore, it is valid. 100% I'll be getting the output. Technically, if a identifier whose name starting with double underscore and ending with double underscore is technically called as what? If you ask me, magic variable. What is the name that we'll be calling, guys? Please tell me. What is the name that we'll be calling? Magic variable. Magic variable. Sir, what is the name, sir? Don't worry, I'll just explain why the name is magic variable. Or you can just call it as special variable, magic variable, or special variable or data. Is that clear? Sir, please execute, sir. Later we will believe it. See here, if I execute, are you able to see the output? I got the output as what? Python study online 20,000. That means whatever the data that I have stored within those variable, I'm able to see the output. Is that clear for everyone? Guys, I want a very quick response from your side. Is that clear? Now, shall I take, this happens to be the example number 6.py. Within this example number 6, I'm going to paste it here. Now tell me, how many of them understood completely about identifiers in Python? How many of them are able to understand? Please do respond. Okay, great. Now, if you read this note point, please tell me, are you in a position to understand the complete identifiers or not? See here, all the rules I have written. Only the following characters are allowed in Python: A to Z, capital A to Z, 0 to 9. Identifiers should not start with the digit. Identifiers are case sensitive. There is no limit for length of the identifier. Identifiers cannot be a keyword. Is that fine? Are you able to understand, guys? Shall I proceed with the next topic? If you tell me to proceed with the next topic, I'll just proceed. Okay, great. Now, where I have missed underscore, I didn't get your point. Okay. Note point. I think easily you can understand. See here, I hope directly by seeing the example number 6, will you be able to understand? We can consider like this. Why? Because I got the output, right? If you want the output also, I will write. See here, output I will write here. What is the output that I got for this? I got the output as Python for this. Similarly, what is the output that I got for this? The output happens to be study online. I'll just copy this. I'll just paste it here. Similarly, what is the output that I got for this? I got the output as 20,000. Guys, you want me to give a note point for this? Yes or no? You want me to give the note point? Okay, great. I'll just give the note point. Okay, I'll just tell like this. If an identifier is starting with underscore, if an identifier is starting with underscore, then it is referred as what kind of variable? Then it is referred as, please tell me. Some person is asking, sir, is it possible to use question mark? No, my dear, you cannot use question mark. That's what I have told. You cannot use any special character. Okay. It is called as what? Protected data or variable. Next, same thing. I'll just copy this. I'll just paste it. If an identifier is starting with double underscore, please tell me what it is called as. Private variable or data. Next, let me just copy this. Let me just paste it. If an identifier is starting with double underscore and ends with double underscore, then technically it is referred as what? Magic variable or special variable. Okay. Now shall I proceed with the next topic? Please do respond. Shall I proceed with the next topic? Guys, don't worry. Regarding the notes, I'm going to give you the notes. You can just write on the note what is there in that. Now, the next topic happens to be very, very important. Please tell me, how many of them are aware of the basic architecture of a computer? That means if I just take my laptop, how many of them are aware of the basic architecture of my laptop? Basic. I'm not asking in detail. Basic architecture. Sir, what is the basic architecture, sir? This is how the basic architecture. Please tell me, whenever I create a file, for example, in front of you only, I have created a text file. Sir, what is the text file that I have created, sir? The text file name happens to be, I'll just tell example number 1.py. Forget about whatever the code that I have written within example number 1, but at least example number 1.py I have taken, and I have written some piece of code. I have just written some piece of code, correct, right? Now think and answer. Whatever I have written within example number 1.py, if I save, where it will be permanently stored, I want you to respond properly. Where it will be permanently stored. Even if I close my laptop, even if I shut down my laptop, if I open, it will be there in that particular device. What is the device name? I don't think the device name happens to be hard disk drive. I know some of them might tell SSD, but ultimately let me just tell hard disk drive. Is that clear? I'll just tell hard disk drive. Let me just tell hard disk drive. Okay. Or you can just tell SSD, no issues. Now tell me, if I want to execute this file, example number 1.py, I have pressed F5 or run module. Don't you think whenever you want to execute a file, that file will be loaded on one more part? What is that part? One more part. Please tell me, that file will be loaded on where? A very important software, RAM. The file will be loaded on the RAM. Now tell me, RAM and one more component will be interconnected, through which we'll be getting the output. The component name happens to be MP. Sir, what is MP, sir? What is MP? Microprocessor. Then only we'll be able to see the output on the console. Now tell me, this file is been loaded on the RAM. In which format the data will be there? Guys, here, whatever the data that I have written happens to be high-level language, correct? Right? High-level language code. Now tell me, if the data is available on the RAM, in which format the data will be there? You should tell me very quickly. Binary language or machine level language? Yes or no? Now this binary language or machine level language will be given to microprocessor. Microprocessor will understand only zeros and ones. That's the reason you people will get the output on the console. Now tell me, is that clear for everyone? Now tell me, hard disk drive is volatile or non-volatile? That means, is that a permanent or temporary? Hard disk drive, is it a permanent or temporary? Very good. It's a permanent device. Permanent. Okay. Next. Or permanent, or some of them might be calling it as volatile or non-volatile. Non-volatile means it, even though if the system shutdowns, you'll be able to open that file once again. Similarly, when it comes to RAM, please tell me, is that permanent or temporary? Temporary, anything? Don't you think it's a temporary? Now tell me, if the data is on RAM, is that volatile or non-volatile? It is what? Volatile. Now tell me, how many of them are able to understand this diagram number? I think this is the first diagram that I have written in today's session. Please tell me, how many of them are able to understand the diagram number 1? It's a pretty simple, right? Correct, right? Now observe properly. Don't take any screenshot. Okay, you can just take the screenshot. If you want, you can just take the screenshot of diagram number 1. Please take the screenshot of diagram number 1. Because diagram number 2 will take some time. That is what the solid foundation of a Python program. It's a solid foundation for Python program. That's the reason. Hope that everybody would have taken the screenshot of diagram number 1. I'll just proceed with the diagram number 2. Before proceeding with the diagram number 2, I'm going to come back to the notes, that is day 3. You people should write the diagram number 1 here. Afterwards, you people should write the diagram number 2 here. Before diagram number 1, that is before diagram number 2, you might have to write a few note points. Sir, which are those note points, sir? These 3 note points is what I'm going to give. Just tell me, are you able to understand by seeing the note point or not? Yes or no, that's it. Please respond. Hard disk is a permanent storage device which is used to store the data. RAM is a temporary storage device which is used to store the data while executing the task. In order to execute the machine level language code using the PVM, first it should be placed upon RAM. All these things already people are aware of that. Now, example number 2, that is diagram number 2. I'll consider. Let me just take a demo.py. I'm going to consider a file called as demo.py. If not, let me just take your name only. I'll just take Vikas. I will take. Sir, is that possible to consider our name as a Python file, sir? 100%. I'll just take Vikas.py. See here, Vikas.py is my file name. I'll just do one thing. I will create Vikas.py. Sir, where you will create, sir? I'll just do one thing. I'll just go back to the ideally. I'm going to create a new file. Sir, what is the file name, sir? I will tell the file name happens to be Vikas.py. Now, within this Vikas.py, I will consider the data happens to be 10. Within this 10, the data happens to be 10 will be stored within a variable called as A. A is a variable which is holding the data called as 10. Now tell me how to print that 10 on the console. How to print the 10 on the console? Don't you think if I tell print A, will I be getting the output on the console? Yes or no? 100% yes. 100% yes. Similarly, I will take the variable happens to be workshop. The variable name happens to be workshop. Please tell me which is the workshop that I'm conducting. What is the programming language? It's a Python workshop. Now, please think and answer. If I just tell print workshop, will I be getting the output as Python? And I will take the variable called as trainer. Within this, I'm going to paste the string data that happens to be Sandesh. Sandesh HS I will tell. Now, observe properly. Observe. Let me just print trainer. Let me just copy this. Let me just paste it here. I'll just tell print function. Within this print function, I'm going to paste trainer. If I copy, if I just save, if I execute, don't you think I'm getting the output as what? 10 Python Sandesh HS. Now tell me, is that a valid data or not? Whatever I have taken. Yes or no? That's 100%. I'm going to give you the chance for you people to ask the doubt by unmuting yourself. You can turn on your camera also, but have some patience. Okay. Please have all your doubts in a sheet of paper. Write the doubts in a sheet of paper. You can clear your doubts in a single shot. Okay. But in between the class, if I try to clarify your doubts, at least it will waste 5 minutes of others people. That's the reason I don't want that to happen. Is that fine? Why? Because I have to value each and every people time. Correct, right? Why? Because time is money. Okay, great. Let me just copy this program. I'm going to come back to the whiteboard. In this whiteboard, what I'll do, please tell me what is the file name that I have taken. We'll see how many of them will tell the proper answer. What is the file name that I have taken? Please be very quick. What is the file name that I have taken? Vikas.py. Now I would like to paste the code. Whatever I have written. Is that visible? The font size, whatever I have taken, is that visible? Purposefully I have taken the minimal font size. At least, is that visible for everyone? Because so many things I have to write. That's the reason. Okay, great. Now tell me, if I save this file, where this file will be there? If I save this file, where this file will be there? Don't you think this file will be there within hard disk drive? Within the hard disk drive, the file is there. I'll just tell this happens to be the HDD. I will tell you people should understand what is HDD, hard disk drive. Let me just increase the font size. Okay, great. Now tell me, if I double click on that, what will happen? Don't you think ultimately I'll be getting the output on the console? Will you agree with my point? If I double click on that, ultimately I'll be getting the output on the console. Yes, 100% yes. I'll just do one thing. I'll just okay. Now please tell me, if I double click on that, ultimately I'll be getting the output. If I should get the output, first of all, tell me where the code should be loaded. Don't you think it should be there on the RAM? Yes or no? It should be there on the RAM. Now the line of control is very important. Initially the line of control will be there with the operating system. Operating system will be having the line of control. I will tell like this. This happens to be the line of control. I will tell. I hope everybody are able to see the things here. One line of control will be there. Technically, I'll just call this happens to be the line of control. I will tell. This is a line of control. I will tell. Line of control. That means whenever I want to execute some task, or if you want to play some YouTube video or whatever it may be, line of control will be given for that particular task. Now, this line of control, if I double click on this particular vikas.py, don't you think the line of control will be given? If I double click on this vikas.py, RAM, it will be loaded on the RAM. See, it will be loaded on the RAM. Now I will tell internally this hard disk and RAM will be interconnected. Now tell me the line of control from operating system, it will be given to RAM in order to execute a file called as vikas.py. Now tell me from RAM, the file or the line of control will be given to one more interpreter or Python interpreter. Please tell me what is the name of the Python interpreter? What is the name of Python interpreter? Very good, PVM. Now what will happen if you ask me? From RAM, PVM will take the line of control. within PVM, there will be 4 segments. Now tell me how many segments are there in PVM? How many segments will be there in PVM? I want you to tell the answer. How many segments are there in PVM? 4 segments. Okay, sir. Which are those 4 segments, sir? You just keep on observing the 4 segments. I will tell the 4 segments happens to be like this. Let me just consider. First segment happens to be code segment. Second segment happens to be stack segment. Next segment happens to be heap segment. The last segment happens to be static segment. Sir, what will be loaded on the code segment, sir? Line of control is with what? PVM. Will you agree with my point? Line of control is with PVM. Now PVM will create a new segment. Sir, what is the name of the segment, sir? I will tell the name of the segment happens to be code segment. Guys, please do respond. What is the name of the segment? I want you to tell the segment name. What is the segment name? Please do respond. What is the segment name? The segment name happens to be code segment. Code segment. Sir, within code segment, what will be there, sir? Within code segment, what will be there if you ask me? The code, whatever you people would have written, all the code will be there in PVM. Is that clear? All the piece of code will come and sit inside this PVM. Is that clear for everyone? Now tell me, line by line execution will happen. That's the reason. I'll just tell like this: line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think line number 7. We will see that. Okay, see here line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now tell me, first line will get executed. How many of them will agree with my point? Line number 1 will get executed. Yes or no? Line number 1 will get executed. Yes or no? 100% yes. Sir, if line number 1 gets executed, what will happen, sir? Everything is an object in Python. Sir, what is object, sir? That is what my next topic. But right now, if line number 1 is been executed, means what will happen? 2 brand new segments will be getting created. Okay, sir, which are those 2 brand new segments, sir? I will tell. First segment happens to be heap segment. As once you create an object, or if line number 1 is been executed, means it will create 2 segments. It will create 2 segments. First segment name happens to be, I will tell, it happens to be heap segment. What is the segment name? Please tell me, guys, what is the segment name? Guys, I can understand initially it is very difficult for you to remember, but as days progressed, it is very simple. Why? Because on a daily basis, I'll be explaining this diagrammatically. Guys, one more thing, I have seen out of 10, only 2 people will explain the programming language by writing the memory diagram. Why? Because many of them will not be aware of how to write the memory diagram, and they'll not be aware of what will happen internally. Guys, don't you think for student, if I teach you what will happen internally, then only will understand completely? Yes or no? That is what my teaching style. When it comes to my teaching style, I'll be explaining each and every topic with the proper memory diagram. That means I will tell line by line what will happen. Now, if line number 1 gets executed, what will happen, sir? A brand new object will be created in the heap segment. A brand new object will be created. Now you should tell me, what is the object data? We'll see how many of them will tell. What is the object data? Please be very quick, guys. What is object data? What is object data? Don't you think the data happens to be 10? The data happens to be 10. If the data happens to be 10, don't you think a brand new address? Guys, for example, you will be having one house, correct? Right? Your house will be having one address. For example, if I want to come to your house, you have to send me your address. Yes or no? Or if I want to call you people, you'll be having one phone number. That means through the phone number, I can contact you. Through your home address, I can come to your home. Similarly, when somebody wants to access this object, somebody wants to access the object, I will tell like this. This happens to be the object I will tell. Guys, I don't know whether people are able to see the font size or not. Are able to see the font size? Yes or no? Are able to see the font size? Then great. I will tell this happens to be the object. Sir, what kind of object, sir? It is an integer object. It's an integer object. Integer object. Sir, why it is integer object, sir? Why? Because 10 is an integer. 10 is an integer. That's the reason I will tell it's an integer object. Okay. Now tell me, one address will be given. Sir, what is this address, sir? A brand new unique address will be given for every object. Once again, I'm going to repeat. A brand new unique address will be given. I cannot write the unique address. Why? Because every time the address will keep on changing. For your reference, I have told 1000. This 1000 will be stored. Sir, where this 1000 will be stored, sir? This 1000 will be stored within the stack segment. This 1000 will start to point the object. Now tell me, what is the reference variable that I have told? What is the reference variable that I have told for storing the data called as 10? Very good. A is the reference variable which is pointing to the object called as 10. Now you people should tell the proper answer. What is this 1000? What is this 1000? We'll see how many of them will tell the proper answer. What is that 1000? Please be very quick. What is the 1000? Don't you think it's address of the object? I'll just tell address of an object. Address of an object. Yes or no? Now tell me, what is this A? What is this A? Don't you think A is a reference variable? I can call A is a reference variable pointing to the object. A is a reference variable pointing to the object. Is that clear for everyone? I want a very quick response from your side. A is a reference variable. 1000 is the address of the object. I will just tell 1000 happens to be the address of the object. 10 happens to be the object. Like this I can tell. Now, please tell me line number 2 will get executed. Line number 2 will get executed. If line number 2 is been executed, what will happen, sir? Don't you think once again a brand new object would be created? A brand new object would be created. This time will not take much time. Please tell me what is the object data that is there? Python is the object data. Now I will not even speak anything. I will tell 2000. I will tell. What is 2000, guys? Once again, I need not to tell anything. What is 2000? Please tell me what is 2000. 2000 is the address of string object. 2000 is the address of string object. Why? Because Python is a string data. Now, within this workshop, what will be there? Within this workshop, what will be there? 2000 will be there. This 2000 will start to point the object. Next, line number 3 will get executed. If line number 3 has been executed, what will happen, sir? A brand new object will be created, which will be consisting the data called as Sandesh HS. I'll just tell the data happens to be Sandesh HS. I will tell. Now, please tell me, Sandesh HS is also an object which will be having the address called as 3000. I will tell. Guys, just for your reference, I'm just writing 1000, 2000, 3000. But in reality, it will be different. I'll just show it to you how to fetch the address. Also, I will tell you. Now, tell me, this particular 3000 will be stored within which variable? Within the variable name called as what? Trainer. Within the variable name called as trainer. Yes or no? That means it will be holding the address called as 3000. It will start to point the object. Now tell me, how many of them were able to understand this diagram till now? Yes, sir, we understood completely. How many of them? Please do respond. How many of them? Okay, great. Now you people got the clarity that if line number 2 executes, what will happen? Line number 3. Next, control goes to line number 5. Line number 5. Now tell me, if control goes to line number 5, don't you think you are expecting the output from the console? If you are expecting the output from the console, don't you think ultimately the line of code should be given to microprocessor? Through the microprocessor only will be getting the output. Now tell me, the code will be converted. The code will be converted into which language? I know you have written the code in high-level language, but don't you think the code will be converted into machine-level language code? Those things you people are aware. Who is responsible to convert the code into machine-level language? All those things you are aware. Now tell me, if you want to get the desired output on the console, sir, what is the output on the console, sir? Don't you think what is the output that you people are expecting? Please respond. What is the output that you are expecting? Don't you think you're expecting the output is what? 10 on the console. You're expecting 10 on the console. Correct, right? Now, please tell me what will happen. What will happen? Guys, just give me a minute. I'll just plug in the charger. Just give me 1 minute of time. Okay, great. See here, I will tell like this. This is what the output that I'll be getting. If you want to get the output, line number 5 should get executed. And don't you think on the console, I'll be getting the output as what? 10. 10 is what the output that I'll be getting. Next, line number 6 get executed. That's the reason I'll be getting the output as what? Python. Next, line number 7 will get executed. That's the reason I'll be getting the output as what? Sandesh HS. Sandesh HS. Is that clear? Please do respond in the chat box. Is that clear for everyone? I want a very quick response from your side. Now, some of them might be having the doubt. Sir, what is the doubt, sir? Sir, I want to see the address, sir. If you want to see the address, it is pretty simple. In your code, you just use a function called as ID function. Please tell me just to check the address. What is the function that I have to use? Please do respond. What is the function that I have to use just to check the address? Please tell me what is the function that I have to use? ID function. Within ID function, I will pass A. I'll pass A. Next, I will copy this. I will paste it multiple times. This time, what I'll do? Workshop, I'll just copy. I will paste it. Trainer, I'll copy. I'll paste it. Okay. Now, some of them might be having this doubt. Sir, I want to see the type of the object, sir. I will show you the type of first object. I think that is more than sufficient. I'll just show you the type of first object. That means I'll just show you it is an integer object. Sir, how to check, sir? It is very simple. Whenever you want to check the type of an object, you might have to use a function called as type function. What is the function name, guys? I want you to respond. What is the function name? Type function. Is that clear? Now, I will just ask, boss, please tell me what is the type of A? It will tell the type of A happens to be integer. We will see by executing that. I'm going to copy this. Let me just increase this size. Okay, great. Okay, now what I'll do, I think here I might have to paste once again. It's okay, no issues. I'll just paste it. Now, again, line numbers 8 will get executed here. I'll just tell this happens to be the line number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like this, it goes on. Now tell me, if line number 8 get executed, if line number 8 is getting executed, don't you think I'll be getting the output as 1000 on the console? Yes or no? I should be getting the output as what, 1000? Will you agree with my point? I should be getting the output as what, 1000? Yes or no? But please tell me, just for explanation purpose or teaching purpose, I have just told you 1000. But in reality, I'll be getting some unique number. Is that fine? At that point of time, don't get confused. Sir, you told 1000 while explaining, but here I'm getting some other data. No, just for explanation purpose, I have just taken 1000, but a unique address is what I'll be getting. For your reference, I'll just tell 1000. If line number 9 get executed, I'll be getting 2000. If line number 10 get executed, I'll be getting the output as 3000. Similarly, the last line, if line number 12 get executed, I'll be getting the output as what? It belongs to class integer. That means like this, I'll be getting the output. Why? Because 10 is an integer object. Yes or no? Now, please do respond. How many of them are able to understand? Yes, sir. We are able to understand. Line by line, we are able to understand, sir. How many of them? Please do respond line by line. I have explained line by line output. Technically, I can call this stack. I can call this stack as runtime stack. What is the one more name for stack? Guys, many of the people in the industry, we will not be calling it as stack segment. We'll be calling it as runtime stack. Please tell me the one more name for stack segment. Runtime stack. Runtime stack. Or in other words, you can just call it as RTS. Is that fine? Runtime stack or RTS. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Is that clear? How many of them are able to understand the diagram? Whatever I have explained. Yes, sir. Completely we are able to understand the diagram, sir. How many of them? I'll just take the complete diagram. Okay. What is the diagram number? I hope the diagram number happens to be 2. Diagram number is 2. Somebody is asking me to repeat once again. I'll just do one thing. I'll be giving you the recorded content. You just watch the recorded content once again. Why? Because I'll just quickly recap. 100% I'll just quickly recap. But once again, I cannot explain from scratch. Why? Because it will consume some time. Okay. Guys, now tell me. I'm going to recap once again. Please participate in telling the answer. First, if I save any file, where the data will be saved? Please tell me. If I save the file, a Python file, where the data will be saved? Very good. Hard disk drive. If I double click on that, where the file, that means who will take the control? Who will take the control? Don't you think the control will be taken by RAM? The control will be taken by RAM. RAM will give the control to whom? RAM will give the control to whom? Very good. PVM. Inside PVM, how many segments will be there? Inside PVM, how many segments will be there? 4 segments. Now tell me, I know I have not used a static segment. As and when the time comes, I'll be explaining about this. Now tell me, among those 4 segments, which segment will be activated first? Which segment will be activated first? Code segment. Within code segment, what will be there? Whatever the code that I have written, that will be there. Yes or no? Next, line by line execution will happen using PVM. Why? Because PVM is an interpreter software. Yes or no? Now, if line number 1 gets executed, please tell me what will happen. Don't you think a brand new object will be created within which segment? Whenever an object gets created in Python, which segment will get activated? Very good. Heap segment. Heap segment. Now, every object will be having an address. Sir, why, sir? Why? Because if you want to call the data or if you want to use the data, don't you think you have to call the object? How to call the object? There should be some identity for that. That's the reason address will be there. Now tell me that address, where it will be stored. That address will be stored where? There's a technical term for that. No. Very good. It will be stored within a stack segment. But don't you think it will be stored within a reference variable? Where that reference variable will be there? Don't you think the reference variable will be there within stack segment? Within stack segment, like that. Line number 2 get executed, a brand new object. Next, line number 3 get executed, a brand new object. All those things will be having the reference variable stored within runtime stack. And if you just print A, it will just check print A. Okay, A is pointing to 10. Fetch 10, display on the data. Print workshop. If you print workshop, you'll not be getting the output as 2000. No one I'm telling. Many of them will be getting confused. If you print workshop, you'll not be getting the output as 2000. Rather, you'll be getting the output as what? Python. Why? Because workshop is pointing to Python object. Sir, I want to see this 2000, sir. No, you should tell me. If I want to see that 2000, 3000, 1000, what is the function that I have to use? What is the function that I have to use? Very good. ID function. ID function. Sir, you told 10 is an integer object, sir. 10 is an integer object, and you told Python as well as Sandesh is string object. See here, Python as well as Sandesh is a string object. I'll just tell it is also an object in Python. Let me just consider that is also an object in Python. And now tell me, I'll just tell this happens to be the object in Python. Object. And now tell me what kind of object? Don't you think it's a string object? It's a string object. It's a string object. Sir, how to check whether it's a string object or not? What is the function that I have to use? What is the function that I have to use? Very good. Don't you think I have to use what? What is the function name? Very good. It is not ty function. It is type function. Is that fine? Type function. Now, is there any doubt for anyone? Guys, directly, it is not a very big deal for me to start off with the hacker rank programs or a very difficult program in the, what I can tell, class. But let me start off with the scratch so that if I teach you the advanced topic also, you people should not be getting confused. Now tell me how many of them understood completely? Yes, sir, we enjoyed. And we understood completely, sir. How many of them? I know it's a very lengthy process, but only once you'll be learning in your life. That's the reason. Guys, same thing when it comes to C also, I'll be teaching C program in this approach only. When it comes to Java also, I'm aware of C program, Java, Python, and the front-end technology, all those things. If I teach any subject like this only, I will teach from scratch to the advanced level. Okay, great. Let me just do one thing. Take the screenshot of diagram number 2. Take the screenshot of a diagram number 2. Hope that everybody would have taken the screenshot of diagram number 2. Let me just do one thing. Let me just go back to the notes. That is day 3. Now, will you be able to write diagram number 2? Yes or no? Will you be able to write diagram number 2? I know many of them will be asking, sir, first execute, sir. Execute the program, sir. Then we will believe. Okay, man, I'll just execute the program. Why to disappoint you people? I'll just go back in work here. Please tell me what is the next line of code that I have written. I think I have used ID function. If I'm not wrong, correct, right? I have used ID function. I have just told A. Let me just copy this. Let me just quickly paste it here. Let me just quickly paste it here. Instead of A, I will tell workshop. Instead of A, I will tell trainer. And last function, what I have told, I think I have used a print function. Within this print function, I'll be using type function. Which type I want to check? I just want to check the type of A. Similarly, if you want to check the type of workshop, it's a string object. If you want, you can just see that. I'll just tell type of workshop. Copy this, paste it here. Similarly, I want to check the type of this one, sir, that is trainer. Yeah, you can just check. That is also a string object. Okay. Let me just copy this. Let me just paste it here. I will save. I will save. I will execute. Now tell me, according to the explanation, whatever I have given, according to the explanation, whatever I have given, I think one person is asking, sir, will you teach Java also 100%? Please do contact me. Maybe you can just call me and you can just contact me. That's one more thing. Please tell me after this session, don't you think I'll be giving the what I can tell attendance link for you people? It takes some delay. If you send a message, I'll be taking some time. Why? Because in that point of time, I'll not be free. I'll be having some other classes. That's the reason. After this class, exactly at 8 o'clock to 9:30, I'll be having the class. That's the reason. Please don't mind. I'll be replying you after 9 o'clock or 9:30. Please don't mind. Okay. I know some of them will be having this thing in your mind. Okay, already I have texted in 7:30 or 7:45. This fellow is having an attitude. That's the reason he's texting after 1 hour. It doesn't mean that I'm having an attitude and all. I'm having some class. That's the reason. Will that be fine, guys? Please don't mistake. Okay. Okay, great. If I save, if I execute, you only observe the output, whatever I'll be getting. See here. How many of them are able to understand? If I say, if I execute here. Sir, what, sir? While explaining, you told 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, but we are getting some unique address, sir. I think clearly I have told you'll be getting the unique address. Yes or no? Just for explanation purpose, I have just taken 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Next time you execute, one more address it will fetch. Now tell me, is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Is that clear? Now tell me, see here, it belongs to integer, it belongs to class. Now, how many of them are able to understand completely? Yes, sir, we are able to understand completely, sir. There is no single doubt, sir. How many of them? Output also I will write in front of you. Program also I will write. See here, I would like to copy the complete program. Let me just come back here. I'm going to paste it. Guys, diagram number 2 is very important. No one I'm telling. Now tell me, how many of them understood the complete program as well as the output? Are you able to understand? Okay, I'm going to give some note point. I hope already people are aware of this note point. PVM consists of how many segments? 4 segments. I have just written like this here. And always the object gets created within heap segment. The reference variable, that means the reference of the object, will be stored within runtime stack or stack segment. Same thing, same old story I have repeated. That's it. Now tell me, how many of them understood the complete memory allocation? Yes, sir. We're able to understand how the memory will be allocated in Python, sir. That means from now onwards, your perspective should change. Simply should not execute a Python program. Print Sandesh, print hello world. No, your perspective should change. If one line get executed, what will happen in the background should be there at the back of your mind. Is that clear? Please do respond. Is that clear? Shall I proceed further? Shall I proceed further? Okay, great. Now the next topic happens to be very, very important topic. Now tell me, if I just utter the term called as orientation, what comes to your mind? If I utter the technical term called as orientation, what comes to your mind? Please do respond. What comes to your mind? What is orientation? English meaning. I'm not asking the technical meaning at all. The English meaning of orientation. What is orientation? What is orientation? Do you think orientation means what? Perspective? Yes or no? Perspective. It is my orientation. Correct, right? My perspective. That means a point of view or the way of looking at something is called as orientation in English. In English. Now tell me, what is an object? What is an object in general? Forget about object in Python. What is an object in general, in reality? Don't you think object is a real world entity which exists in reality? Which exists. It might be a living object or non-living object. That means I can just call my phone is an object. Laptop is an object. Python is an object. Sir, Python is a non-living object, sir. Yeah, 100% it's a non-living. I know that, but it's an object. I can just consider mouse is an object. Keyboard is an object. Earphone is an object. Microphone is an object. Bottle is an object. Now tell me, what is an object? Can I define an object like this? An object is a real world entity which exists in reality. Yes or no? Object is a real world entity which exists in reality. Yes or no? Please do respond. Now I'm going to give you the introduction to object orientation. Sir, what do you mean by object orientation, sir? Guys, many of the people will be getting confused. What is object orientation? Is that an important topic or not? 100%. If you're learning Java or if you're learning Python, 100% object orientation plays a vital role. Now observe properly. What is object orientation, sir? If you want me to give the definition that is there in the book, I'll just tell like this. Object orientation is the way of looking at this real world as a collection of objects. That's it. See here. The way of looking at this real world as a collection of objects is only called as what? Object orientation. Sir, we didn't understand anything, sir. Please try to explain by taking the diagram however you will take, sir. 100% I'm going to consider the diagram. Now tell me, if you consider this real world, what is your perspective towards the real world as a student? Assume that you are a student. What is your perspective towards this real world? Please do respond. I want a very quick response from your side. What is your perspective towards this real world? Guys, please do respond. What is your perspective? What's your perspective? For example, you'll just look at this word. How you'll just look at this word? Don't you think as a student, you'll just look at this word as exams, enjoyment, all those things, correct, right? Yes or no? Now tell me, as a developer, how you will look at the word? How you will look at the word? Don't you think you will just look at the word as what? Coding, as well as money. That is salary. Now, please tell me, from the perspective of police, how you look at the word? They look at the word as what? Criminal. That means identifying the criminals. Similarly, I would like to share you the diagram. Please tell me, when it comes to the perspective of student, what is the perspective of student? Exams and enjoyment, all those things. What is the perspective of developer? Coding as well as money. Next, what is the perspective of police? Identifying the criminals. What is the perspective of a husband? Problems. What is a perspective of teacher? Students as well as training. What is the perspective of a beggar? Getting food. Next, what is the perspective of a politician? Black money, scam and all. Guys, is there any son or daughter of a politician? Please don't think in a different manner. I'm just saying in general. Now tell me, don't you think different people will be having different perspective towards this real world? Yes or no? Please do respond. Different people will be having different perspective. Correct, right? The perspective will vary from person to person. That is only called as object orientation. Is that fine? Different people will be having different perspective towards the real world. That is only called as object orientation. Now tell me, Is there any doubt in diagram number 1? Sorry, it is not diagram number 1. I'll just do one thing. What is the diagram number? I think it's diagram number 3. Diagram number 3. Just do one thing. Just take the screenshot of diagram number 3. Guys, due to shortage of time, I have shown you the diagram. Will that be fine? In the class, actually, I will write the diagram, but due to shortage of time, I have just written the diagram previously and I am just displaying that. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Okay, take the screenshot of this diagram number 4. Hope that every diagram number 3. Sorry. It's give me a minute. I'd like to share you the screen. Okay. Let me just open the diagram. I hope everybody would have taken the screenshot. Once again, I cannot write perspective and all. Have you taken the screenshot of diagram number 3? Yes or no? Please do respond in the chat box. Have you taken the screenshot? Yes or no? Okay. If not, you can just take the screenshot. No issues. Guys, you just add perspective here. That's it. I think it got erased. It's okay. Once again, I'm going to paste it. Perspective. Let me just copy this. Okay, I'm going to paste it here. Here also I'll paste it. With different perspective, different people will be having. Okay, that's what I have written here. Now, this is what the diagram number 3. Okay, just take the screenshot of diagram number 3. Okay, hope that you have taken the screenshot of diagram number 3. Shall I proceed further? Please do respond. Shall I proceed further? Okay, great. And now what I'll do, you only observe. When it comes to Python, assume that there is a Python. Right now, your perspective has changed. Why? Because you are attending the Python workshop. Before Python, assume that you would have not heard about Python. What is your perspective towards Python? If you would have not heard about anything, what's your perspective towards Python? Don't you think your perspective will be what? Python means what? Snake? Yes or no? Please do respond. You might be thinking like this. Your perspective towards Python is what? A normal person will think snake. Guido van Rossum, for him, Python means what? It's a life. Why? Because he is the father of Python. Similarly, when it comes to student, for you, it's a subject. Yes or no? For you people, Python is a subject. From the perspective of a developer, it's a programming language. Yes or no? Please take the screenshot of diagram number 4. Take the screenshot of diagram number 4. Take the screenshot. Now, I hope everybody are able to understand. If you look at one object, your perspective, whatever it will be there, that is only called as object orientation. That means the way of looking at this real world as a collection of objects from different perspective. Is that clear? Now tell me how many of them understood the basic definition of object orientation? How many of them are able to understand? Yes or no? Please do respond. Okay, great. Now what I would like to share you the notes, that is day 3. You people should write the diagram number 3 as well as diagram number 4 and diagram number 5. Before me starting off with the diagram number 5, I would like to explain when it comes to object, the objects will be divided into 2 parts. Please tell me guys, how many parts the object will be divided? That means the object will be consisting of how many parts? Just now I have told how many parts? 2 parts. Okay, sir, which are those 2 parts, sir? The 2 parts where the object consists of happens to be has part as well as does part. Is that fine? Please do respond in the chat box. Which is the first part? Has part. Which is the second part? Does part. Is that clear? First part happens to be has part, second part happens to be does part. Now, in order to handle the has part, in Python, we do have something called as data types. Please tell me, in order to handle the has part, what do you have in Python? In order to handle the has part of an object, sir, what and all things that will come under has part, sir? Don't worry, I'm going to consider in the example, that is diagram number 5. In order to handle the has part, we do have something called as data types. Is that fine? Okay, sir. What about does part, sir? In order to handle the does part of an object in Python, we do have something called as methods or functions. Is that clear? Guys, once again, I'm going to ask you the question. Everyone respond. When it comes to object, how many parts the object will be having? Please do respond. 2 parts. In order to handle the has part, what we should make use of? data types. In order to handle the does part, what we should make use of? In order to handle the does part, what we should make use of? We should make use of what? Methods or functions. Is that fine? Please do respond. Is that fine for everyone? Now I'm going to show you the diagram number 5. So what is diagram number 5, sir? You can call the hash part. You can call the hash part using some other name. Okay, sir, what is some other name? Don't worry, in the diagram only I'll just show it to you instead of writing here. Now, don't you think I will consider Royal Enfield? Don't you think Royal Enfield is an object? Yes or no? If I consider Royal Enfield bike, don't you think it's an object? Yes or no? Royal Enfield is an object. How many of them will agree with my point? Royal Enfield is an object. Yes or no? 100% Royal Enfield is an object. Now, Royal Enfield will be having two parts. Sir, which are those two parts, sir? You only observe. I'm going to display the diagram for that. This is diagram number, I'll just tell like this here. I'll just tell the diagram number 5. Okay, I'm going to write the diagram number 5. Okay, diagram number 5. See here, if you consider the Royal Enfield, it's an object. It's an object. Object will be having two parts, has part as well as does part. In order to handle the has part, we have data types. In order to handle the does part, we have functions or methods. Is that clear? You don't look at these things. You just don't look at these things. You just look at these things. Royal Enfield is an object. Will you agree with my point? Yes or no? Yes, don't look at the below part, whatever I have displayed. Royal Enfield is an object. Yes or no? No. Royal Enfield will be having has part as well as does part. In order to handle the has part, we will have something called as what? Data types. In order to handle the does part, we have functions or method. Has part can be called as state of an object, or one more name is there called as properties of an object. Similarly, when it comes to does part of an object, we do have something called as behavior of an object. We can just call it as what? Behavior of an object, or we can call it as actions of an object. Now tell me, has part, that means what Royal Enfield have? Please tell me, don't you think Royal Enfield will be having wheels, color, cost, engine, tank, brake, seat, tire? Like this, I can just tell so many things the Royal Enfield bike will be having. Yes or no? That is what the has part. Now tell me, what does the Royal Enfield bike will do? Don't you think we can ride, or we can perform the action called as a riding action using the Royal Enfield bike? We can start the engine. Similarly, we can stop the engine. We can change the gear. We can increase the speed. We can turn on the light. We can make sound using Royal Enfield. Now tell me, how many of them are able to understand the has part as well as does part of a single object, whatever I have taken? How many of them are able to understand? Yes or no? Please do respond. Guys, due to lack of time, I'm just displaying the diagram, which is already been written. Okay, please don't feel bad. When it comes to my actual class, I'll be writing the diagram from scratch. Raw diagram is what I'll be writing. But if I write the diagram, it will take another 10 minutes. That's the reason. In order to avoid that, I have written like this. Will that be fine for everyone? Please do respond. Will that be fine for everyone? Okay. Now take the screenshot of diagram number 5. Take the screenshot of diagram number 5. Hope that everybody would have taken the screenshot of diagram number 5. I'll just do one thing. I would like to come back to day 3. Now see here. Are you able to observe diagram number 3, 4, 5, whatever I have taken the screenshot? And if you see this note point, are you able to understand the introduction? That's it. Guys, I have not explained in detail about object orientation. Simply I have given the introduction. That's it. That is the reason heading only I have written introduction to object orientation. Now tell me, how many of them are able to understand the introduction part, whatever I have given? How many of them are able to understand? Yes or no? How many of them are able to understand? Okay, very good. Now let me just take data types in Python. Let me just take what? Data types in Python. The next heading and the last topic, another 5 minutes, that's it. Please do bear me. I'm gonna give the heading, that's it. The heading happens to be data types in Python. Okay, sir, what do you mean by data types, sir? Or how many data types are there in Python, sir? How many data types are there in Python? I will tell. But first of all, let me just explain. What do you mean by data type? Is that clear? Please do respond. Shall I explain what do you mean by data type? Please do respond, guys. Shall I explain that? Okay, great. Now I will tell like this. Assume this happens to be the real world data. Okay, sir, in which format the real world data will be there, sir? Now tell me, in which and all format the real world data will be there? Assume that you want to tell your age. Please tell me what is the real world data? Integer data. Assume that you want to tell your age to someone. You'll just tell integer. Your age might be 25, 26, 23, 20, something like that. Now, if you want to tell your weight, that means you might be telling your weight as 74.3, 70.5, or your height 6.1, 6.0, something like that. Now tell me, what kind of data it is? It's a floating data. It's a floating data. It's a floating data. Next, you want to tell your name. You want to tell your name. Sandesh, Suhas, Sushmita, Pradeep. Don't you think it's a string data? It's a string data. It's a string data. Now, if the data is in the form of integer data, if the data in the form of floating data, or if the data is string data, similarly, don't you think image data will be there? You want to store the image data. Similarly, you want to store the video data. Similarly, you want to store the audio data. Similarly, you want to store audio data. For all this data, like this, n number of data will be generated in real world. N number of data will be generated in real world. In order to store the real world data, and in order to give it to what? Microprocessor. That means the real world data should be converted into machine level language, and ultimately it should be given for what? Microprocessor. Why? Because microprocessor will understand what zeros and ones. That's the reason. Here is where the data type will come into picture. Sir, why data type will come into picture, sir? Why? Because data type in Python will consider, or using the data type, you can store the real world data. In order to store the integral data or integer data, we do have something called as int data type. In order to store float data, we do have something called as float. In order to store string data or character data, we do have something called as str. Similarly, in order to store image data, video data, as well as audio data, we do have some built-in libraries. Is that fine? Like this, I can just keep on telling, guys. Like this, I can just keep on telling. Just for your reference, I have told. Now tell me, if somebody is asking, what is the meaning of data type? Don't you think easily you can tell like this? Data type is an entity which is used to collect the real world data and give it to microprocessor. Yes or no? That is what the duty of data type in Python. Yes or no? Please do respond. Please do respond. Okay. Please take the screenshot of this chota diagram. Please tell me, what is the diagram number? I hope the diagram number happens to be 6 or 7. Diagram number 7. I hope the diagram number happens to be 7. Yes or no? Okay, 7. Take the screenshot. Hope that everybody would have taken the screenshot of diagram number 7. Now what I'll do, I would like to share you the notes. Last 2 minutes, that's it. I will tell the definition of a data type in Python. Sir, what is data type, sir? It is pretty simple. See here, in order to handle the hash part of an object in Python, we should make use of what? Data types. Already you have learned. Similarly, the type of data is referred as what? The data types in Python. Data types are used to collect the real world data and provide that data to microprocessor. That is what you have seen in diagram number 7. Now, if you just ask me, sir, how many data types are available in Python, sir? In Python, totally there are 14 data types. How many data types are there, guys? Please tell me. Totally, how many data types are there in Python? How many data types? 14 data types are there in Python. 14 data types here in Python. There are 14 data types. There are 14 data types as follows: int, float, complex boolean, bytes, byte array, range, list, tuple, set, dictionary, string, none, as well as frozen set. Is that fine? And these 5 highlighted data types are called as advanced data types in Python. Remaining are called as basic data types. Is that fine? Please do respond. How many advanced data types are there in Python? How many advanced data types are there in Python? Just tell me the number. 5. List, tuple, set, dictionary, string. Is that fine? That is what I'm going to explain in detail in tomorrow's session. Is that fine? Right now, in today's class, what I have taught, let me just quickly recap from the bottom. I have just given the introduction to data types. I have given the introduction to object orientation. I have told how the memory allocation will happen in Python. And I have told the rules to define identifier. And I have taught you the topic called as keywords. Is that fine? Now tell me, is there any doubts for anyone? Is there any doubts for anyone? Please do respond. Now, I'm going to give you the cheat code. I hope like normal, like in order to take the attendance. You tell me what is the cheat code that I can give. You just tell me the cheat code. You tell me, I'll just give the same cheat code. Shall I give a cheat code? Happens to be my bike name, that is Royal Enfield. Is that fine? Okay, guys, if you want, you can just take the screenshot of this cheat code. Royal Enfield happens to be the cheat code. Is that fine? Now do one thing. Let me just do one thing, guys. Just give me a minute. Why? Because still some of them are not giving the attendance. I don't know why. They're expecting me to text them. Guys, how can I text each and every people? Is it possible for me to text each and every people by identifying your name? No, right? The cheat code happens to be Royal Enfield. You have to ping me in WhatsApp. Is that fine? You have to ping me in WhatsApp by asking the cheat code for, that is the not cheat code. Don't ask the cheat code. Cheat code is there. I don't know. Some of them will be sending the cheat code. Don't send the cheat code in the Google form. You just tell me that. You just ping me in WhatsApp. This is my WhatsApp number 8553531326. If you have any sort of doubt, please do contact me. This is my number. That is Sandesh. And ping me in WhatsApp by saying, I have attended day 5, like this. I have attended day 3. Sorry. I have attended day 3, or simply just tell day 3, whatever it may be. I will send you the link to your WhatsApp number. Then you can just give the attendance. Is that fine, guys? Please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? I want each one of you, those who have attended today's session, to ping me in WhatsApp, so that after 9:30 or 10 o'clock, I'll be sending you the link. Now only you just tell me the what I can tell. Ping me in WhatsApp. Okay. Will you ping me in WhatsApp? Can I expect you to ping in WhatsApp? Okay, great. Now today's session, how many of them enjoyed? Forget about Python, forget about all those things. When it comes to teaching, how many of them enjoyed? Guys, I know so many topics I have done in today's class. I'll understand. But how many of them were able to enjoy the session? That is very important. This is my phone number. If you have any doubts, please do ping me in WhatsApp first, and just tell me when you can call, and we just have a talk regarding anything. Maybe if you want to ask the, maybe, sir, I want to learn Python, complete Python. What is the next procedure? All those things I will teach you. Don't worry. Next, in future, I'm planning to conduct only workshop on Python programming, only the hacker rank program, a very difficult program. For that particular workshop, now only I'm telling those who have attended this workshop, you will be eligible to attend that workshop. Is that fine? Simply without having the knowledge on Python, simply if you just come to that workshop, I'll not allow. Is that fine? Okay. Tomorrow, what is the timings? Please do respond. What is the timings for tomorrow? What is the time for tomorrow's session? Same, exactly at 6 o'clock I'll start. Guys, and one more thing I am observing. I don't know, some of them will join the session at 6:10, 6:15. Guys, this is not a BTS bus to catch the bus. Like, okay, bus will be running. We will just go in the style like, what is that film name? I forgot. The hero is Yash. I think Raja Huli film. Correct, right? In Raja Huli, you will be running in behind the bus and he'll just catch the bus, right? Like that. If you people will think like, okay, let him start the class at 6 o'clock. I will catch the class at 6:10 or 6:15. Please don't be like that. Now only I'm telling, please attend the class exactly at 6. Okay. Is that fine? Guys, one more thing I will tell. Many of them will be suffering because of this technical term. Sir, what is the technical term, sir? I'll just tell you the things in tomorrow's session, right? Because already it's time's up. Will that be fine tomorrow if I start the class at 6 o'clock? Is that clear for everyone? Guys, now I'm telling, please do text me in WhatsApp by saying you have attended day 3. And every day I'll be asking the feedback. Why? Because I want the genuine feedback from your side. Okay. Now, guys, feedback, it is not for contacting the feedback. No, it is for my reference. Is there any mistake that I have committed? Or is there any improvement that I can do in my teaching skills? Or what the student felt? That's the reason I'll be asking the feedback. Please do provide the feedback in the link. Is that fine? That's the least thing that you can do for me. So that at least by seeing that feedback, I'll be getting that Josh to take the next session in a very different manner. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. And have a great day. And I wish you all the best in your career. And tomorrow we will meet exactly at 6 o'clock. Okay. And tomorrow, what is the day? Tomorrow is day 4 of Python workshop. Please do attend the class without fail. Why? Because I'll be starting with the data types that are there in Python. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.